and presenting his work about teaching or teaching. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. In fact, the original title of my presentation was something like Teaching for Teaching, Why Teaching to Transgress. And I realized, so that is in front of me, and I remember that he walked by me, and they was writing a draft and sending it to Professor Farahad, and he said, "You have gone too far." And he said, the title is too awkward and too redundant, so I decided to keep it short. But then my main point that I wanted to make is that everything that we do in economy or teacher education institutes should be teaching for teaching, because we need all our teaching at university level to trickle down, to cascade down, and we want to pay it forward and multiply it so teachers of the future will pay it forward and teach students in the future critically. And by teaching to transgress, I mean that we need to be perfect examples. We need to lead by examples. If we want to be critical, we want to teach critical pedagogy, we need to be critical and self-critical. These are my two main points in this presentation. So, next slide. So this is the outline. I will talk about the key for teaching critical pedagogy is self-criticism. This is the point, my main point. And then I will talk about how I realize higher education teacher autonomy that I possess as a teacher, teacher trainer and instructor at higher level. And then I use this autonomy, window opportunity that opened for me, and I used it to introduce issues of critical pedagogy. And then I will talk about these two examples of teaching critical pedagogy through two classes that I taught. And then I will talk about the amazing partnership that we established with the University of Algeria, and then we'll talk about the product writing a book together with students of the University of Algeria and our students towards the end. So I talk about the main issue here. So I think that the problem with economy, I am the product of Ernest Bouzerian, and now I'm teaching the same type of institute. I've seen it in teacher education institutes all over the world. Then the main problem for us is our failure to epitomize practice. We fail to be the perfect model for our students in pedagogy. And I can remember, I feel really ill when I remember my old days when I was a student. And there was like one teacher who taught us alternative assessment. And she spent the whole first semester talking about how bad traditional paper and pencil assessment is. It's one shot at the end of the year, it doesn't reflect students' performance and achievement. She would tear into shreds traditional assessment, and the second semester is all about alternative assessment, performance-based, initiative assessment, authentic, all of those words, portfolio, and then that very module, the assessment for that very module was end of year traditional assessment, essay, question. Can go on and on, talking about all the examples that I've seen, teachers talking about humanistic teaching, taking into consideration students' feelings and talking about the aesthetic and affective dimension to teaching. And those teachers are the least humane, the least sensitive in the world. And me, personally, I can think about myself because I teach public speaking, and I feel the pressure and I feel embarrassed talking in front of my students who are here today. And they know the bitter reality that I'm not very good at public speaking and presentation. So the other week, I was telling my students how they should manage the Q&A, how they follow the 4 steps, thanking, reflecting, repeating, and verifying, and then thanking, those steps. And then one of my students last week was saying, I was watching your YouTube video, and you were not doing things that you pretended you were telling us to. And I was very embarrassed, and they said, so you have to follow what I say, what I do. And so I'm thinking about this problem as the biggest problem. If you want to teach critical pedagogy, we have to start by ourselves and be critical thinkers, be critical, self-critical, in order to show the example. Or maybe it is a verse of the name. So if we think the name, so I think that I'm not superstitious, but I think that when these schools were first conceived, the word normal means that they were conceived to teach about the norms of pedagogy, the norms of the curriculum. And because it is normative and prescriptive, it's about what they should do in the class. It really leaves little room for critical thinking. And I'm just speaking about this. Maybe the structure and the nature of the teacher education institutes in different countries as well is prescriptive, and then it doesn't really lend itself to critical pedagogy. So I will ask you to act silly with me and do some thought exercise. I promise it will be short, and then I will tell you why I do it with you. I want you to form a circle between your thumb and the index. Can you do it? And make sure it is like perfect. And now I want you to slowly and perfectly put it on your cheek. On your cheek. On your cheek. Cheek. I know you know the parts of the body. I know what happened here. Next slide. What happened here is that you followed what I did, not what I said. You realize that this is why we don't change behavior. This is why we cannot be critical if we don't start by ourselves as preachers of critical pedagogy. I think that the problem is that why the imams? Because my actions spoke so loudly that you could not hear what I said. You cannot hear what I say. I said cheek, and then you did this with me because I was a bad role model. So I will be quick. I know I will not have much time to talk about everything. So realizing teacher autonomy and knowing its digital autonomy and knowing its context. So one of the things that I realized by my second year teaching at this school is that we as teachers of higher education, we have to some extent, autonomy to introduce things, to redesign syllabi, to do things that we can introduce issues. And then this window of opportunity opened for me, and I used it to the full by introducing critical pedagogy. And I will show you in a second how I did it. So I want you to remind you the four main issues if you want to teach critical pedagogy in the teacher education institutes, is that we have to walk the talk, as I said. We have to be to help students transgressing by being perfect examples of transgressing, by encouraging, by negotiating power. This is negotiating power, trying to navigate your autonomy and the contours that surround you, and then use that power that you have. And teaching about power, critical pedagogy, I think, is mainly teaching about power. I will talk about this in a second as well. So making the classroom a dialogic setting is a must. Then this is also leading by example. And then anecdotal teaching. So Ahmed keeps laughing at me by saying that my teaching is anecdotal teaching. He says he exaggerated it, he overthrew it. But I think that if you want to teach critical pedagogy, it should stem from students' experiences and histories. And then I am quoting, I'm echoing here, Fox, who says, it is the unspoken law of the classroom that to trust those who cannot fight experience as the indisputable grounds of their knowledge. So you have to start from students' histories, from student stories, and your stories as well, in order to enrich the debate on power distribution in society, exclusion, inclusion, stereotypes, prejudices, all of those issues that are very important and are core to critical pedagogy. Next. So these are my two syllabi that I redesigned. One in the CAP module, and it's quite unfortunate that we no longer have this class at UNSC level, but I don't know about the other schools, but it's called Communication and Attitudes for Application. And it has broad themes of social cognition, educational leadership, stereotypes, power, oppression, and those issues. And then I introduced many of the notions of critical pedagogy within this syllabus. And then the other syllabus, I was given this opportunity by the master's program organizers to introduce, they gave me a workshop and called it workshop, and then they said you can introduce anything you want in this class. And I taught education for social justice and democratic idea, and it was really a good opportunity as well. So next slide. So this is an example where we do what we did in class. Okay. So analyzing power and inclusion. So it's all about reflection on one's power and powerlessness in different institutions and areas. Talking about who gets the best jobs, whose history will be taught in schools. Talking about how power is distributed in society based on the identity features of race, gender, language, education, age, all of those issues, and then we talk about who has power in society. And then I split students into groups based on their wilayas and their cities, of students of Hachelaf, students of Mustafa, etc. So I have them together, and then they start analyzing power in charts, and then talk about what it means to transcend the social ladder and the economic ladder based on the power and privilege and access that you have based on the in your grades, on your next. I'll be quick, and then we also include a lot of the programs where students from a certain they walk. That must be a setting for folks to voice peers to talk about what they are doing, how they are doing it, and why. It's all about building a community inside the classroom where students feel safe to talk about this. Right, so now I don't have much time to talk about an amazing opportunity, an amazing partnership that we established at the University of Virginia. Right, so a big conclusion, sorry for that. I am being a bad example because I told my sister I have to be good with time as a presenter, and I'm very good. Good. Okay, conclusion, that's practice. Self-critical and self-reflection is the first step towards self-responsibility. The logical sustainable system of oppression and privilege. We have to understand this, and we have to pass it on to students so that they understand that future role as change agents and leaders, because leaders are teachers and teachers are leaders. Teachers as cultural workers and practical agents of change, reflecting upon the politics of education. It's all about politics. And then building a community and inclusion, voice and visibility is a must, because pedagogy is about quality. We all talk about education de quality, but for whom? Education quality is nothing if it's not for all. And then I'll talk to you later about this point. And for personal experience and anecdotal teaching is very important. That's it, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this.